anything y'all curious about, usually I do this a little different, but we only got 15 minutes, so we gotta make it matter, right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna do this, yes sir.
Which business are you CEO of?
Okay, I own a company called Making the Transition. I'm a behavioral psychologist by trade, right? What that means is that I study behaviors of people and people groups, and then I consult on how to work with different groups of people. I do that on behalf of courts, schools, prisons. I've done it for a president's office. I also own part of a film company. I own centers. I own part of a restaurant, and I have different investments. So like I'm in business. I started my first business I bought out my first business when I was 17 years old. I grew up hustling, and I bought the lawn company that used to cut grass in the neighborhood where I grew up at. And then once I did that, I was trying to just learn about business. I never graduated from high school, so I didn't really get the opportunity to learn a lot. So I started trying to buy out other people's businesses so I could see how people ran the business, so that way I could learn. I saw somebody else hand first. I just want to make sure. Did somebody else out of here?
Why did you go to jail 56 times?
Okay. So I was signed over to the state as a child. So I grew up in a real rough environment, in a real rough area, and I ain't grew up with my family. So when I didn't have my family, the streets became my family. So I started making a lot of bad decisions because I was in the streets so heavy. Does that make sense? The less education you have, the less opportunity you have, the less opportunity you have, the more amped you are to make a bad decision. I couldn't read until I got incarcerated. I learned how to read while I was locked up. So since I couldn't read, I wasn't trainable. Since I wasn't trainable, I wasn't employed. Since I wasn't employable, I had a hustle. So education, opportunity, and bad decisions and good decisions directly connected. You feel me? It's like if you ain't got no feet, you can't wear no shoes, right? If you don't have no education, you can't make good decisions. Alright, I saw somebody else hand. Yes, ma'am. I can barely hear you. Hey, I want to do something too so that we can practice. So for the next person who might come speak, they might not be so cool. When y'all ask a question, stand up, say your name, introduce yourself, then ask your question. We cool with that?
Yes, sir.
Say yes, sir.
Hold on, let me get this young lady, okay?
My name is Nyla, and what I wanted to ask was, when you went to jail 56 times, did you go for different things?
Oh yeah. I was pretty much what you would call a career criminal. I sold my first drug when I was 12 years old, and I was in and out of jail from the age of 12 to 28 years old. I'm 40 years old. I just turned 40 last Monday. Actually, on June the 7th. I travel a lot, so it'd be hard to keep up with dates. But it was June the 7th. But I did not have an open case from the age of 12 to 26 or 29 or somewhere in there. That means I was on probation, or parole, or bond, and had an open case at all times through that time period. So basically, I was out risking my life selling drugs, so some other lawyer, some other person could get my money.
Do you have
Remember, you gotta say your name and introduce yourself.
Okay. So my name is Jami, and my question is, do you have any children? And if you do, was it hard for you to raise them since you were in?
Okay. So yesterday was Father's Day, right? I have a daughter who passed because of a drive-by that was done at my house. My daughter was hit by a bullet. Her mother was standing in my house while I was incarcerated. Somebody probably saw her coming in and out the house that I had beef with, and they shot up the house thinking that I was in the house. It induced her mother's labor, which means that the child was born out of stress. So that means they had adrenaline in them when they were born. My child lived for 3 days perfectly fine, fell asleep, and she passed in her sleep. So the ultimate question would be, answer your question would be, it made it tremendously hard for me to be a parent because my child had to pay for my sins, not theirs but mine. So everything you do in some way or another gonna impact the people you love. So you gotta think real hard about the decisions you make. I never even thought of I always wanted to have a family because I never had one. I was trying to